Welcome back to the channel, everybody. It is your boy ER coming at you on this Tuesday, February 11th. It is 4:32 in the afternoon, and I'm just wanting to touch base with you guys. I want to answer some questions that y'all have been asking on some of my vlogs, and just give you a quick update on what the plan is going forward to complete this Pinhoti trail. We'll start with the latter first. So tomorrow, my mom is going to drive me back down to Cave Springs. We're going to check into one of the hotels there, and I'm going to go make up that 2 miles. I'm going to drop off most of my stuff. I'm just going to carry what I need to finish those 2 miles into town, have my mom drop me off there, say our goodbyes, and I'm just going to walk back to the hotel, spend the night in Cave Springs. It's supposed to thunderstorm Wednesday night. So I thought about, why don't I just go down there and walk tomorrow? Well, it's about 22 miles to get to anywhere that you can camp that isn't city-wise. Not that that matters to me. Y'all know I snuck behind a church on night one of this trip and stealth camped back there, so maybe that would be a better option, actually. But I'm going to let those 30-mile-an-hour winds and thunderstorms that are forecasted go through the area. Get up Thursday morning, go eat breakfast at the little restaurant there in town, and then do my road walk. Just plan on 22 or 24 that day. Most of that's on a road. Find a good place to camp that night, and try to make it into Dalton by Monday. That gives me 4 good days to get there before the next bout of rain hits. I plan on zeroing hopefully into Dalton, and then everything after that, we'll play it by ear when we get there, because that's beyond my 10-meter target. So 10-meter target's Dalton. 5-meter target is the weather's clearing. I know I've got a 22-mile road march. I need to get off that road march and get back in the woods at some point. And then my 1-meter target for Thursday is going to be making it to the first store, which is, I think, 5 or 6 miles into the leg. And then just assess my situation from there. The cool thing about that road walk is you kind of get to store hop all the way up it. But that doesn't mean I'm not taking a full food bag. I am, because I like to eat. Walking too heavy probably already, but it's just the life of ER and what he likes to do. So, all right, so let's get into some questions. Got some really good ones here. I appreciate everybody asking questions. That's how we all learn. It's not like I'm going to sit here and teach y'all anything. I'm just going to give you my experience. You process it how you want in your world, and you use it or lose it. Yeah, so let's begin. So Matt Sessions asked me about my gear, and he just says, how's the gear holding up? Anything you wish you had or items you should have left at home? It's always a great question, because, you know, I push back against, there's so many videos about gear, but ultimately, gear doesn't make your hike. I promise you it does not make your hike, but it can sure aggravate the mess out of you if it isn't working right. And right now, what I have to clear up in my mind is that duplex tent floor leaking? And I don't know yet. We're going to figure it out, because after I get through Dalton, there's tons of rain coming, so I'm going to figure it out. The good thing about that is the temps will be warm, so it isn't that big of a threat, other than just suffering and being miserably wet. So maybe the duplex mat. You know, I've had it for 3 or 4 years now, and it's served me well. But what I think I did the other night, and I told y'all in the video, some of you may have heard it, I said it was a rookie mistake. I had laid out my ground sheet underneath it, and I had the ground sheet extending a little beyond the tent. Once the rain started, the rain was rolling off the tent roof, and it was dripping on it, and it woke me up. I heard it. I did nothing about it. And what I do know is that rain was just getting directed right underneath the tent, not absorbing into the ground because of my ground cloth. And so if there are any leaky seams or whatever, I sure exacerbated the situation by having that ground sheet there. What would have been smarter, ER? Just putting the tent on the ground, letting the ground soak up the water as it's supposed to, because that was before all the floods hit. Now the ground ain't going to soak up any water, so I'd probably rethink about my method of where I'm tenting, maybe on a slight angle, you know, figure it out. But my mistake number 1 was having that ground cloth extend past and letting all that water flooding off the tent just flow right underneath my bathtub floor. I also had my backpack pushed up against one of the walls, and it was pulling the mesh down a little bit. So any condensation or rain that was running off the roof of the tent was redirecting kind of into the mesh and then pouring down into my tent too. So a bunch of rookie mistakes by this guy that night. I was actually getting a couple of hours of sleep, moving around, and just did some bad things. So anyway, other than that, you know, besides my insoles coming out about every 5 feet out of my shoes, I think every other piece of kit, I knew how it was going to react because it's the exact same stuff I had on the Appalachian Trail. One thing I will give a shout out to is my Z-Packs R-Call. Man, that thing rides comfortable. I can wear that thing all day with, I probably have 25-ish pounds in there most of the time. I can wear it all day and never take it off and never be uncomfortable. That says a lot. And I don't get sweaty back. That's key. It's been warm out here. Some days it's been freezing, by the way. Alabama had thrown it threw everything at me, and now Georgia's trying to as well. But I'll give a shout out to Z-Packs and that backpack. So far, I'm in love with it. This is the farthest I've hiked with it, so good job, Z-Packs, on that R-Call system. Mark Cummings asks, no spam tuna chicken packets. Well, so I changed my menu, as y'all know. I cooked for the first trip into Heflin, Alabama. But the problem is I only have one pot. I only have my one titanium mug, 750 milliliters, whatever it is. Might not be milliliters, that sounds pretty small. Whatever it is. I like to have a hot drink at night too, some kind of tea. But when you're competing with boiling water for ramen, and I'm not carrying an extra cup, so I can pour some of that water in and make tea. Not going to carry an extra cup. It's just a mental thing for me. I carried one on the AT for a while. When I got rid of it, I said I'm never carrying an extra cup. There's no need. And I really love peanut butter and that Stripes or Goober Grape peanut butter and jelly. I love that on bagels. So to me, it just made sense. Let's eat bagels for dinner. While we can warm up some tea or heat up some tea. And that helps me get heads down into making the videos at night so I can get to sleep a little bit sooner. I don't want to hear, I do not want y'all to hear that as, well, that's a big task that's preventing him from having a good hike. Making the videos makes my hike good. So don't get that twisted, because getting to do those videos every night is just something that I thoroughly enjoy. And I think if you ask anybody that vlogs, if you look at Quicksand, man, he makes incredible videos, and I know it comes at a burden, but the dude wouldn't do it if he didn't love it, and he's an artist, and that's how he lets that art shine. So anyway, shout out to you, Quicksand. James Burke, I'm curious in how much does your pack weigh when you're getting ready to go back out to the trail from a resupply? He goes on to say, I understand it varies depending on the different distances you have to cover. Very true. So far on this trail, they've been 3 to 4 day legs. The next one's a 3 to 4 day leg. My food bag is full, it's stuffed, and it's heavy. I'm guessing there's probably 9-10 pounds of food in there. So I'm guessing my backpack when I leave town, let's take water out of the equation because water's so independent. Like, I know I'm hitting stores, so I'm not going to carry a lot of water on this road walk. So water aside, my backpack's 20, 22 pounds, something like that. To me, that's just in my sweet spot. Even if it's 25, it's in my sweet spot. That's not going to hurt me. So I do carry a lot of food. You know, there's times that people are having to carry. This is the argument that I love having when people say, why do you hike so fast? A, we won't get into that, but y'all know I enjoy it. I love pushing myself. It's just part of the fun for me. But B, man, when you hike slow, there's a lot of times on the AT and on this trail, you can have to carry 6 or 7 days of food to make it to your next resupply point. So, yeah, you're going to hike slow because your pack's going to be tremendously heavy. So that's an advantage of folks that hike fast. You don't have to carry as much food. You can get on down the trail. Ann Trimble asks, what phone service do you have? I've been impressed that while out on the trail, you've been able to upload daily. Everybody knows I carry Verizon that followed me on the AT. I still have it, unlimited. Night one's video was easy to get up behind that church. The rest of them have not been easy. I would find a spot on the trail. I would either leave the upload to YouTube going in my pocket. Most of the time my phone is on airplane mode to save battery. The day that it snowed, I just left it on because I was bouncing in between 2 bars, 3 bars of service. I was like, okay, it'll upload eventually. I went from 96% battery power down to about 30 by the time that video finally uploaded. Yeah, so probably wasn't the smartest thing that day. I love getting videos out as fast as possible though, so y'all can kind of feel like you're having an experience with me. So to me, that's important. That's why I carry a gigantic battery bank, so I can recharge my phone and not have to worry about it in between town stops. Yeah, and I think a lot of vloggers could do this. It isn't like Hawk Mains or ER or these like wildly crazy dudes who found out the secret to success. Quicksand could load his videos up if he wanted to every day, but that puts more pressure on him to do his artistry with his work. And I think guys like him and maybe Habitat, if you ever watched him, putting their videos on delay makes sense. It gives them less pressure. You know, when an artist is painting under pressure, man, their art's not going to be beautiful. If you take that time pressure off of them a little bit, they can be free to do what they do. And I think that's why Quicksand putting on just a few day delay, I think that makes sense for him. It's a little forgiving for him if he just didn't get it done, or he sees it and it just isn't the product that he wants it to be. He can work on it the next day if he needs to before he shows that to the public. So that's the balance that we all weigh. Me, I'm trying to get better at my vlogs, the production of them. They're a lot different than they were on the AT, but I also want to get them out in a timely fashion, and that's challenging. Oddly, this trail the coverage has been worse than most parts of the AT for some reason. I don't think it's going to be that way from Cave Springs to Dalton, but I think after Dalton, going up towards where my mom lives, up here in LJ, going this direction, I think it's going to be spotty coverage again, so we'll see. I love the challenge. Thanks for the question, Ann. Sheila K asks, is this your longest distance hike since the AT? If so, being 3 years older, do you think your body's responded different than it did on the AT? Thanks. It is my longest hike, by far. This is going to end up being 347 if I can make it to the end before my deadline. If you look at that on the AT miles, that's Hot Springs, or just a little bit beyond Hot Springs, so not a bad hike. Yeah, my body responded differently. I'll be honest with you. I'm pushing myself harder, so I don't really know. I can't answer that question fairly, but here's what I do know. I work out every single day of the week. There are no days off, and I would push anybody. Everybody says, hey, it's time to take a day off. You should be doing something actively that day to recover, whether it's walking or, you know, doing an easy bike ride on a cardio machine or doing something. Like, to me, there are no days off. So I take extreme care of my body. I try to remain as flexible as possible. This injury that I have on my ankle, to me, it's a flexibility issue to where my ankle smacked down. What's that called? It's not pronate, I don't think. Anyway, it extends down, the toes going downhill, and man, it just elongated that. It just pulled on that, whatever that is, muscle, tendon, whatever you have in there that's freaking, you know, keeping that foot in place, and man, it just tore it up. You can work on that flexibility, and I know you can, and I know I should have worked on ankle flexibility better before I came out here, and I'm just pushing everybody that's going to through hike. Go to YouTube, look at some ankle mobility videos, get your ankles mobile. Everybody says they have weak ankles. Man, it's just a load of crap. We all have weak ankles. You're going to turn your ankle, but if your ankle's flexible, it can absorb that twist and not be injured or get injured. All right, so other than that, the body's been responding really good. I have suffered with ulcerative colitis in the past. I've been colitis free for about a year now. I'm always slightly worried about that, but so far so good. But interestingly enough, I've had to take a lot of ibuprofen. Anybody knows what ibuprofen and ulcerative colitis, they don't go together. And I've had some blood start appearing. So a little hesitant about that, but it don't matter. I'm going to go out and get this trail done. I'll deal with that crap later. Literally. Okay, Mountain Wanderer. I'm going to read his post. And his post is very complimentary towards me. That's not why I'm reading it. I'm reading it because I want to add something to what he says here. Long-time viewer, first-time commenter. I just have to say I love your approach to the mental side of hiking. You give a lot of good advice. My absolute favorite part, though, is that you call yourself out. I know that in your former life you've been through all kinds of hell, so the rest of us don't have to. And if this badass can call himself out on YouTube, it really sends a message that the mental side gets to us all. Then it is up to us how we deal with it. Love it. Great job. Glad to watch some more through hike videos. So for all of you going out on these long distance hikes, what most of us in our egos will instantly do that you don't have any control over it most days, because most of us don't know our egos controlling everything that we do. As soon as things start going bad, it's going to be everything else's fault around you. It's the weather. It's that guy's fault who slept next to me and snored all night. It's all these things. It's nobody's fault of how you're processing all of that, other than the finger pointing back at you, the person staring at you in the mirror. And once you realize that and can admit that openly, it changes the game. It changes how you process everything through your experience, and you can turn all of that around. No longer is it your fault. It's, man, I screwed that up by putting my tent on some kind of freaking ground sheet. I'll think of it here in a minute. Redirected my water underneath my bathtub floor, and of course my bathtub floor leaked a little water in there. At least that's my supposition. Man, nobody else did that. It wasn't Mother Nature's fault that she rained. It was ER's fault that he set the stupid crap up like that after he's done this hundreds of times. So I love the comment, Mountain Wanderer. I appreciate it. And it's a good point that I think we can all learn from. ML, hi ER, thank you for letting us all follow along. How do you think your recovery plan is working? Anything that you think you'll do differently when you get back out on the trail? Man, my recovery plan is on point, ML. I use the roller every night. I use the wiffle ball a little bit. What I'm using the wiffle ball on, though, are my calves. So when I get in the tent, I'll lay back on my back. I'll cross one leg over the other, and I will take that ball. I'll pretend like this is my calf, this is my thigh, this is my knee. I'll take that ball and just roll those calves out, because those calves are tight. And when I said I had knee problems the other day, I knew it's one of two things. It's a muscle up above the knee pulling on that kneecap, or it's muscles below the knee pulling on that kneecap, or both. The calves are so knotted up on the outside. Take that wiffle ball, or you can just use your thumbs. Find those trigger points, those really big knots, and man, you just got to work them for minutes and minutes and minutes until those things loosen up. All you people with knee problems on the AT, y'all think, oh, something's internally wrong. Nope, it's because you got knots in your muscles that you're not recovering from and not massaging them out. You're probably just taking a bunch of ibuprofen and thinking that's a recovery plan. It's not. You got to get aggressive. You got to massage those leg muscles every day. The AT will catch up with you. The AT is going to catch up with you in the first few days if you don't start recovering yourself. So I'm passionate about it. Just do it. So ML, to answer your question, I'm not going to do much different. Road walking's a little bit of a different challenge. Beating those feet on that pavement for 20 miles, we're going to see. We're going to see. At least those new insoles will help out a little bit. It's a great question, though. I appreciate it, and I will let you know. Like, if I don't mention it in the videos, ask me again, ML. Okay, another question from Old Ladies Hiking North on the Appalachian Trail. You send a comment on every video, and I appreciate it. You know I love it, so thank you for doing that. She wants to know how I like my new Evernew bag. Yeah, so back in 2016 and 17, the Evernew bags were all the rage. This is before CNOC came on the scene. And I still am a fan of the Evernew bags a little bit more for the exact reason she's asking about. When you fill it up, does it still have the sturdy bottom that you can sit it down on to provide a good platform for itself to sit up on? Because a CNOC bag, you just got to lay it down. It's flimsy and floppy. Evernew bag's a little bit different. Yes, this one does. This one is just like the 2-liter Evernew bag that you have and that I used all the way up to AT, except for it has that closure that you pull the little plastic piece out, the top opens, you can just scoop a bunch of water, fold the top back over, stick the plastic piece back in, and it's good to go. And it also still has a screw top on there as well. I'll try to show it better in one of my videos out on the trail instead of me just showing you with these little hand gestures that don't really mean anything. But it is a 2 liter, and the thing's fabulous. And I paid less for it than I paid for my other Avenues. It came from China, so it took about 2 weeks to get here, but it's awesome. Good question would be, what do you set aside for a budget? It's a Rhode Island hiker, by the way. And then what's the lowest you think you could do this hike for? I'm always going to say $1,000 a month is what you should plan for any long distance hike, even though you can do this one for less, for sure. The hotel in Heflin's $50 a night for a single bed. The hotel in Cave Springs is $50 or $55 a night for a single bed. Your resupply options are Dollar General, so it's going to be cheap. But it depends on how long. If you're only hiking 15 miles a day, man, you're going to be out there for a long time. So it's hard for me to answer. For me, I can probably get this trail done with, honestly, $500 or $600 without the mom support plan. Thank God I have it. What an amazing gift this has been. But for people who are going to only go 15 miles a day, I'd say $1,000 would be a good bet. And that's probably a little bit high, but man, it's better to be high than low. And my boy Mark Fugel, who asked about Maxim coffee. So we've had a lot of coffee conversations on here. When I was on the AT, for those of you who just started following me and hadn't seen the video, I was in New York. I got to a shelter early trying to beat some rain. It started pouring, and in comes a bunch of Japanese business people and their wives, and they were hiking. They were business. Like, they got into the shelter. They broke out all this amazing food that they had packed out for their day hike. It smelled like I was in downtown Tokyo somewhere. And one of the ladies started making coffee at the end, and she pulled out these packets of coffee, and she handed me 5 of them, and they were Maxims. They were the yellow ones. So when I say Maxim, I mean M-A-X-I-M. That's how you spell it. They're Korean coffees. They are instant, and they have the cream and sugar already in them. They are fabulous. After that, I became sold. I drank Maxim the whole rest of the AT. I bought some when I got home, but I pretty much OD'd on them. So, Mark, I have OD'd on Maxim. I'm digging my Cafe Bustelo right now. I still do Starbucks. Like, it's going out of style, but I'm not a creamer kind of guy in my coffee. So, yeah, I've kind of gone away from it. But if you haven't tried Maxim, go to Amazon. You can get like 100 packets of them for pretty cheap, and you got to try it if you're a hiker, because they are fabulous, especially if you like cream and sugar. All right, y'all, we're going to end it for there today. That was fun. I don't know if this provided any value to you, but at least you get to hear some more of my thoughts. Hopefully they mean or added some value to your life. What's next? Going to eat some kind of Mexican casserole that my mom's cooking tonight. She's a wonderful cook, so that should be incredible. And we're going to decide when we're going to head to Cave Springs tomorrow. I'm going to make up those 2 miles, get some dinner, go to sleep, wake up, get some breakfast, and we're going to get at it. We're going to finish this thing. All right, y'all, that's about all I got. To my family back home who's doing it without me because ER needs to come on these trips. Like, I think anybody who, trying to find the words here, because I think most humans need something like this. Not all of us are willing to just ask or tell our families that we need it. Man, I've been blessed with a family who understands it and supports it. So again, you just got to have conversation with those around you and just let them know, I get it, man, I'm going to be gone. Maybe it's your job and your boss you got to talk to. And just say, I'm going to be better when I get back. I just need to do this for me. And then if they can't understand that, or the job doesn't allow it, then, man, you got to make a decision. If your family doesn't allow it, then, you know, at some point you just got to make them understand that you want to go, you want to have time for yourself so you can come back and be better. I think that's the important piece. To my wife, I appreciate you letting me do this. This means the world. I also got to eat lunch with my dad today, so shout out to Dad. It's great to see him too. So this whole thing has been a blessing. Yeah, just a blessing. All right, y'all. Bumped my gums long enough. This is long. Apologize. Hope y'all can sit through it, and we will catch y'all in the morning. ER signing out. Deuces.